Okay, may I request Agra, Christelle, kindly lead the prayer, please.
Let us pray.
Let us
Dear
pray.
Lord and Father of all, thank you for today. Thank you for ways in which you provide for us all. For your protection and love, we thank you. Help us to focus our hearts and minds now on what we are about to learn. Inspire us by your Holy Spirit as we listen and write. Guide us by your eternal light as we discover more about the world around us. We ask all this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. In the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Again, good morning, everyone, and it's a happy Tuesday. So this is our second online meeting, online class for Science 9. So we had our first meeting last Tuesday. So may I request medalye? Okay, medalye. As far as you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
remember, okay, as far as you can remember, what was our discussion last first meeting?
Nag-orientation ta about sa regulations and mga steps sa class o nagkuan pud ta nag nag-lesson gamay about respiratory and circulatory system.
Okay, thank you very much. So last Tuesday, so we had our discussion orientation about Science 9, and I presented to you the 4 modules of our Science 9. So we will start with 1, respiratory and circulatory system. Second would be genetics. Third is we will be dealing with biodiversity and evolution. And last module for this quarter, photosynthesis and cellular respiration. And aside from that, John mentioned that we discussed respiratory and circulatory system. And then the rest of the part of the H5P activity in our LMS, it's for you to answer and to accomplish. And then after the module 1 na H5P, merong next activity na the title is Let's Practice More, wherein you are going to answer questions. I think there are 2 activities, and then every activity you're going to answer 2 questions, and you are going to submit that through online text submission only. So since I checked your submission earlier this morning, so marami pa rin hindi nakapag-submit from section Yakal. So let me share to you now my screen, and let's check your LMS, and let's see kung how many students na ang naka-accomplish ng Module 1 and ng Let's Practice More for Module 1. Okay. So here is our LMS. So for virtual acquaintance, i-check ko pa later, baka may nadagdag from section Yakal. So yan, we have here. Yan, marami ng Yakal dyan. So I will be checking it later. I will be giving you points, and those are noted. So very good. Now balik tayo sa H5P Module 1. Okay, at this part, makikita natin kung how many students of Yakal ang naka-answer. This is alphabetical. So lahat ng grade 9 science students na online students, nandito siya. So hindi siya naka-categorize by section. So that's why makita nyo dito, alphabetical siya. But I will check later for section Yakal. Now, proceed to our H5P, the submission. Ito siya, we can check the submission of section Yakal. Yan. So, as of October 28, 9 a.m., ito siya. Makita dito, no submission. Okay? Ang nakasubmit lang is we have Babaylo. Na-submit niya 7:23 p.m. last night. Okay, I will be checking it later. Very good. So take note na based on our agreement last Tuesday, you are given Tuesday and Wednesday to accomplish your module 1 or before today or before our second meeting. Okay, so of course, to be fair, for those students who are submitting their task early and on time, so of course there will be some points to be added. Okay, so they are recognized. So we have here, o wala pa si Candelasa, Chato, Cuevas also. Uy, gabi pulaw-pulaw ni si Cuevas ba? 10:47 p.m. na submit. Okay, very good. And then we have Montilla, nakasubmit na din. Yan, marami pang hindi dito nakasubmit. So makikita ko as to the time, that's why last Tuesday, I always reminded you to please manage your time properly para malesen yung ating mga pulaw and dili maka-affect sa atong health. Okay? So at this part, na mga students, so Panan, wala pa. Piteri, wala pa din until now. Riquillo, 11:40 p.m. Napagod mas tugay. 11:40 p.m. nag-submit. Okay. So yan, yung mga no submission dyan, please take time today na mag-submit din na siya. It's because module 2, 3, and 4 medyo mahaba yung mga lessons. So para hindi kayo kumbaga, mag-apas sa mga schedule niyo. So you have to take your time properly. Okay? Manage your time. Okay. May pumapasok pa ng mga students. Okay? So we have also here Mantilla. Okay? Ay, kung na ay 11 p.m. na, din ay midnight. 12:15 a.m. Kung ni tulugay ng Yakal. And then we have here, wala pa si Diaz, Narisma, Uy, Samaniego, Geducos. Yan, wala pa sila. Okay? So far, yun lang ang naka-submit as of now sa ating Module 1 na performance task. Okay? So make sure that you will find time. So, ang gagawin natin after this meeting, focus muna kayo sa Module 1 before you are going to proceed to Module 2. Now, are there any questions regarding Module 1? If you have some question, please raise your hand and then say something. Kung naamoy nalisudan sa Module 1, para ma-settle na before tayo mag-proceed sa Module 2. Okay? You may raise your hand and ask questions for some concerns. Okay, wala. Now, let's proceed to Module 2. Okay, so Module 2 natin, we have heredity. So the same with Module 1, we have here H5P. Now, are you familiar with genetics from your grade 8? May I ask, may I ask Babaylo? Okay, Aryan, as far as you can remember, what was your lesson grade 8 about genetics? Yes, Aryan, louder. Ay, giubos si Aryan. Yes, sige. Balikan kita mamaya. Inom ka muna ng tubig, Aryan. Kailangan ka ng tubig kasi may ubo ka. Okay, can I have Arajani? Arajani, as far as you can remember, what was your lesson last grade 8 about genetics?
Sorry, ma'am, I have no idea po.
Pero makadiscuss kayo ng genetics. I mean, nakaka-cover yung grade 8 ninyo, science last year ng genetics.
Yes po, ma'am. Pero kalimut ko.
Oh my God, nakalimutan nyo na. Okay, thank you. How about Vicada? Vicada, as far as you can remember, what was your lesson grade 8 genetics?
Nakalimutan ko.
Hala, daganay nakalimot. Uy.
May dayo po, ma'am.
Oh, yes, sige. Thank you, Dale. Okay, John. Do you have something to say, John, about your grade 8?
Ang discussion last year sa grade 8 is about Mendelian genetics. Nag-discuss me about chromosomes, DNA.
Okay, thank you. So, based on the John's discussion about your previous grade 8, you've mentioned about chromosomes, you mentioned about Mendelian genetics, you've mentioned about Gregor Mendel. Now, it's very important that you should remember your previous lessons. It's because, like for example, grade 8, Gregor Mendel, the continuation or the next part of genetics will be discussed sa grade 9. And then pagdating yun ng grade 10, continuation na naman ng genetics na topic sa grade 10. So that's the importance of having this review your prior knowledge. So you have to refresh your mind. Na kahit online classes, online student kayo, so you have to, be properly acquainted with your previous previous lessons, okay? But anyway, thank you for the sharing. Now, we have here, wait, nawala ako. Yun. Hindi ko makita sarili ko. Okay. So, another H5P for Module 2, medyo mataas siya. And you will expect more problems to solve sa genetics. Now, my question, are you familiar with Punnett square? Please raise your hands sa reaction if you are familiar with Punnett square. Okay, Ariate. Si Ariate lang nakafamilya ng Punnett square. I think sa grade 8 na-mention ang Punnett square. Si Ariate lang ang familiar sa Punnett square? Ano bang nangyari sa grade 8 ninyo? Okay, medalye. Sige, I will ask someone. Jace? Excuse me, Jace. Nag-Punnett square mo grade 8? Okay. Genetics. Grade 9 lang. Ang genetics ako grade 8. Gregor Mendel lang. Na dominant recessive. Chromosomes. Okay. Sige. Okay, I'm back. So for grade 8, I know you've mentioned Gregor Mendel, but not into more of the problem solving using the Punnett square. Okay, so thank you for raising the hand. Kindly lower now the hand. Okay, now. So for our grade 9 again, you will be expecting more of non-Mendelian genetics. So using the Punnett square, we will be using Punnett square. We will be using this method in order for you to predict a particular trait of a particular offspring, for example. So, for example, if you are wondering why in a family, for example, in your own family, like ako ang family, in terms of height, for example, okay, my father is short, my mother is tall, and then ako is tall. So if you're going to explain that scientifically speaking, so there are explanations and discussions that the genetics can explain. Why is it also na majority of you mga straight hair, but your mother, either your mother or father, has a curly hair? So why is it like that? So genetics can also be a help for us to predict a particular trait in within our family. Okay. So module 2 is another exciting topic since we will be dealing more on inheritance. Inheritance or sa Bisaya pa mga kaliwatan. Okay. So, sige. We will start module 2 with an overview. So, may I request Robertas, okay, Robertas again. Kindly read the first paragraph of our overview, please.
In grade 8 pa, ma'am.
Yes po, sige, go, proceed.
In grade 8, you learn that cells divide to produce new cells, and meiosis is one of the process producing genetic variation in Mendelian patterns of inheritance. In grade 9, you will focus on describing the location of genes in chromosomes. Explain the different patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance and describe the molecular structure of the DNA.
Okay, so as you can see here in our overview, now at least you can now remember your grade 8, that during your grade 8, you learned already that cells divide to produce new cells. Okay, and please do remember the term meiosis. Sorry for the noise na ay nagpintura sa kilid sa pakikinig. Haba na, mute sa natin. Okay. And for our grade 9, we will be focusing on non-Mendelian inheritance. And you are going to describe the molecular structure of DNA. Also, in our module 2, you will be mentioning the chromosomes for the male and chromosomes for the female, like XX and XY. Okay. So, second paragraph, may I request Terona. Okay, Terona Clarence. Kindly read the second paragraph, please.
Gregor Mendel's principles from the base for the understanding of heredity and variation. Although Mendel's work failed to discuss truly the factors or genes he mentioned in his laws of inheritance, his findings prompt other scientists to probe further into the mystery of heredity. Several researches were conducted after the rediscovery of Mendel's work.
Okay. So that's it. So Gregor Mendel's principles was discussed during your grade 8. Okay. So we have here Walter Sutton and Theodore Boveri became popular because they found the best evidence that an inherited trait is determined by chromosomes. So chromosome theory of inheritance explained the genes are in the chromosomes. So that's why we have the term Mendelian laws of inheritance. For example, not all genes show simple patterns of dominant and recessive allele. Now, I have another question. Are you familiar with the term dominant and recessive? Raise your hand if you are familiar with the terms dominant and recessive that was mentioned during your grade 8. Okay, very good, Hontilia, Ariate, and Medalye. And hopefully, yung mga hindi nag-raise ng hand, at least ngayon, na-refresh na yung mind ninyo. Because again, we will be using the term dominant and recessive in our grade 9. Okay? So next now, we have here now the competencies. So last Tuesday for our respiratory system, we have 2 competencies. But for our module 2, we have only 1. But take note, okay, but take note that in this module, you will journey with these competencies. So very simple lang yung ating competency, but again, it will take more time So you will need more time, you will need more illustration, you will need uh, problems to be solved using the Punnett square. Okay, so be ready with our module 2. Okay, so
Job,
first
job.
explain
Pagod
the
ako, ma'am.
different.
Nahulog.
Ano nahulog? Sino kayo yung nahulog? Okay, let's continue. Pakimute na lang yung mga audio. So, explain the different patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance. So, you are going to deepen your understanding of the following specific objectives. Tama kayo? Okay, first is you're going to explain incomplete dominance, codominance, multiple alleles, and sex-linked traits. Now take note, sa module 2 natin, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 topics. Incomplete dominance, codominance, multiple alleles, and sex-linked traits. And then letter B, ito na sinasabi ko sa inyo, you'll be using the Punnett square to cross on incomplete dominance, codominance, multiple alleles, and sex-linked traits pattern. Okay? Now, let's proceed to slide number 2. Okay. Sa slide number 2, merong title dito. Start learning with an activity of exploring the words. So, since dalawa lang or tatlo lang nag-raise ng hand kanina, na, ma'am, ako familiar ko sa dominant, familiar ko sa recessive. So here are the words that you need to explore for slide number 2. Okay, now, this one. Recessive allele. Who can define recessive allele? I will give extra 5 points for the performance task. Who can define recessive allele? Okay, Cuevas, raise her hand. Okay, Cuevas, what is recessive allele?
Recessive allele is an allele that produces its characteristic phenotype only when its paired allele is identical.
Okay, thank you. Since recessive siya, it cannot be reflected on the phenotype kasi recessive. So for example, the trait for hair. Straight hair is dominant over curly hair. So meaning to say, when the recessive is homozygous in a particular trait, yung baby or yung offspring will not have the curly hair kasi recessive trait siya. Okay? So that's it. Now, if you're going to turn on this one, recessive allele, okay? An allele that produces its characteristic phenotype only when its paired allele is identical. Okay? So, proceed to the next part. Take note, slide number 2, you will be learning more. Card 1 of 19. There will be 19 words that you need to familiarize. Now, here is my assignment. Assignment, slide number 2. You are going to write down all the terms as well as the definition sa slide number 2 in your notebook. Babalikan ko to during our oral recitation sa 4th and final online meeting natin. That will be on November. Okay? So, part siya ng oral recitation. So, I will leave you na lang sa slide number 2. Kayo na ang bahala sa slide number 2, mag-continue. Okay? So, explore the 19 important words for module 2. Now, let's proceed to slide number 3. Sa slide number 3, we have some questions, okay? At this point, since you already have this 19 terms and definition, so I guess you have the idea, you will be having an idea now about the definition of terms, and you can answer slide number 3. Okay? Sige, we will answer. We will try to answer na lang. And this will serve as your another bonus points for your module 2, just like the bonus quiz and answer last respiratory system na topic. Okay, let's start with number 1. ABO, these are blood type A, blood type B, blood type O. Yun yung meaning ng ABO blood types. ABO blood types are an example of blank. Codominance, polygenic inheritance, sex-related dominance, or multiple alleles. Okay, who can answer? You may raise your hand. Yes, Narisma is raising her hand.
Codominance po, ma'am.
Codominance is the blood type A, B, or O are example of codominance. Okay, we will check if that is the correct answer. I will click on this one. Oh, and that is wrong. The answer is multiple alleles. Sige lang, nice try. So take note of the correct answer. Para pagbalik niyo sa module 2, you can get the correct answer. So blood type A, B, and O, since there are more than 2 traits, A, B, and O, so that is an example of a multiple alleles. Okay, question number 2. The X and Y chromosome are a non-homologous pair of chromosomes. What is the basis for this designation? First, they do not have the same gene traits. They are not the same shape. They are not the same size, or they do not line up with other during meiosis. Okay, Mantilia, what is the answer?
They don't have the same gene traits po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. We will check if that's the correct answer. Let's click. Okay, very good. That's the correct answer. They do not have the same gene traits. Very good, Jasmine. Now let's proceed to number 3. What conditions will guarantee that a male offspring will have red-green color blindness? The father has a recessive gene, the mother is a colorblind, the father is colorblind, or the mother has the recessive gene. What is the correct answer? Cuevas, okay, Cuevas, you are raising your hand.
The mother is colorblind.
Okay, the mother is colorblind. So you are going to discover that in a particular inheritance, there will be abnormalities. Okay, there will be sex-linked trait, particularly on the X chromosomes, or some of the traits will link on the Y chromosomes. So for this number 3, the answer is the mother is colorblind. So let's check if that is correct. So the answer is, okay, very good. The mother is colorblind. Okay, number 4. The blending of 2 traits in which one is not completely dominant over the other is known as none of them, incomplete dominance, or codominance. What is the answer? Okay, please raise your hand. Sino na una? Sige, can I have Puntilia? Yes, Puntilia.
Incomplete dominance po.
Okay, the blending of 2 traits in which one is not completely dominant over the other is known as incomplete dominance. So we'll see. Very good, that's the correct answer. Okay, now let's proceed to number 5. An inheritance pattern in which both alleles for a gene are expressed in the offspring so that both traits show up on its body is known as incomplete dominance, dominance, or none of them. Okay, Agra, kindly answer this, Agra.
Codominance po.
Okay, codominance. Let's see if that is the correct answer. Very good. So please take note of the correct answers and terms so that later on your own mag-answer, then you can have a perfect score of 5. Okay, now after this, proceed to the next slide. Okay, now, during your grade 8, you are familiar with this biologist. So he is Gregor Mendel. Okay, he was an Austrian scientist, an Augustinian. And then he experimented on the garden pea hybrids while living in a monastery. That's why, because of his studies and contribution to biology, he was known as the father of modern genetics. Okay, so then for the slide number 4, later, pagbalik mo sa LMS, so explore, we provided here videos about Gregor Mendel and his study. By the way, this video is just only a review of your grade 8. Okay? Nilagay lang namin yung grade 8 na lesson so that at least you can refresh your knowledge na, ay, na-din sa grade 8. Ito pala yun. Okay? So, yun. So, kayo nang bahala mag-continue yan later. Proceed to the next slide. Sa next slide, we will discuss first trait. This is a non-Mendelian genetics or non-Mendelian traits. Now, another picture. So I have here card 1 of 5. And then here is the question. Is it an example of non-Mendelian trait? Okay, take note of the particular flower. You can see 2 colors. One white and another is red one or pink. So question, is it an example of non-Mendelian inheritance trait? Yes or no? So raise your hand if you want to answer. You can answer yes or no. Is this an example of non-Mendelian trait? Okay, who wants to answer? Raise your hand. Huntilia again. Wala na bang ibang mga kamay dyan? Okay, Huntilia, what's the answer? Is it an example
Yes
of
po.
non-Mendelian? Yes? Okay,
Yes.
let's see. Very good. Yes. Now proceed to card number 2. How about this one? Brown eye, blue eye. Is that an example of a non-Mendelian trait? Yes or no? Sige daw, let's see. Yes, Ariate. What's the correct answer?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes. You've noticed that there is a Punnett square. Let's see if that is an example of non-Mendelian trait. No. This is an example of Gregor Mendel's inheritance na pattern. If you notice, bakit hindi siya non-Mendelian? No yung answer. It is because we have a dominant and we have recessive. One trait lang din siya. Blue, and brown. So walang combination ng brown and blue. So that's why it is not an example of a non-Mendelian trait. Okay, so now you know. Now proceed to card number 3. How about this one? A chicken na ay color brown, tapos makita po ninyo na ay color white. O yes, Roberta, is it yes or no?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Yes, it is because may combination yung makita natin in actual trait of a particular species. Okay, so you have color brown, color white. Okay, very good. Next, card number 4. How about this one? A cow. My color brown, my color white. Yes, Cuevas.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so obviously it's a yes. It is an example of non-Mendelian trait because of 2 color traits that is reflected in a particular cow. Proceed to the last card. How about this one? What's this? What's this picture? Example of a red blood cells. Okay, is it an example of a non-Mendelian trait? Yes or no? Who wants to try? Raise your hand. Okay, try lang. Yes or no? Is it an example? Oh, Arajani.
No po, ma'am.
Okay, let's see if that is a no. Yes. Yes is the answer. So therefore, blood or blood cells or blood types is an example of a non-Mendelian trait. If you remember the first question kanina, yung blood type A, blood type B, blood type O types. Okay, so those blood types or particular blood types are an example of non-Mendelian trait. That's why the answer is a yes. Okay, so we are done with the cards. So take note, you have to um, familiarize also and understand the concept that non-Mendelian genetics are any inheritance patterns that do not follow one or more laws. Okay, so there are three: incomplete, codominance, multiple allele, and sex-linked traits. Okay, before I proceed to the next one, question: what are the four patterns of non-Mendelian genetics? Who can enumerate the four inheritance patterns of non-Mendelian genetics? Who can raise? Okay, Arajani, what are the four non-Mendelian genetics?
Incomplete dominance, condominance, multiple allele, and sex-linked traits.
Okay, very good. So those are the four patterns of non-Mendelian inheritance, and we're going to discuss the four for this module. So yun na nga, medyo mataas siya. Okay, proceed to slide 6. Okay, let's start with this one. Aside from this picture, meron pa ba kayong ma-imagine or mabigay na example of a particular animal or flower na pareho nila na makita mo tagdadalawa yung makita na colors? You can give an example aside from this animals and aside from this flower. Yes, Arajani again.
Fish po, ma'am.
Fish. Anong klaseng fish? Meron bang tag-dalawang color? Tricolor?
Mga guppy nga fish, ma'am.
Oh yeah, very good, very good. That's an example of this trait. Okay, now for slide number 6, we will discuss incomplete dominance and codominance, and you have to differentiate incomplete and codominance. Okay, so I request Hista. Okay, Jim, Hista, kindly read the definition of incomplete dominance, please. Hista? Nandyan ba si Hista? Jim? Wala si Jim. Nandito siya pero absent siya. Wala siya. Take note. Wala si Jim pero nandyan siya online. Pero wala siyang tingog. Okay. How about Agra? Okay, Agra, kindly read the definition of incomplete dominance.
Incomplete dominance is a form of intermediate inheritance in which one allele for a specific that is not completely dominant over the other allele. This results in a third phenotype in which the expressed physical trait is a combination of the dominant by dominatant recessive phenotypes.
Okay, thank you. Now, we are going to focus on the definition or the line for the incomplete dominance, that the result in the third phenotype is expressed is a combination of the dominant and recessive phenotype. So for example, in our picture, so you have here flower with color white and color pink. So makita natin na may color white and then some petals may color pink. Sa second picture natin, you have here a cow. We have red patches or brown patches with white. Now, which of this picture is an example of incomplete dominance? If you want to answer, raise your hand. Which of these pictures is an example of incomplete dominance? Sanchez. Okay, Sanchez.
Flower po, ma'am. First picture
Again?
po. Ang first picture po, ma'am. Yung
First
flower
picture
po.
na flower.
Opo, ma'am.
Okay, sige. We will take note of your answer. We will see if that's a correct answer after the definition of the codominance. Okay. Now, kindly read the definition of codominance. May I ask? Um, may I ask? Dumandan. Okay, Dumandan, can you read the definition of codominance?
In codominance, both alleles
Alleles.
are expressed equally in phenotype of the heterozygote.
Heterozygote. Okay.
Heterozygote. For example, red cows crossed with white cows will have offspring that are roan cows. Roan refers
To cows with red hair and white blotches. Okay. So thank you, Dumandan. So now, sa codominance na pattern, we will be focusing on the line that both alleles are expressed equally. So example for the cow, since yung parent niya is a red cow and a white cow, kaya yung pagkaanak niya, na-combine yung red from the parent and white, combination, kaya nakita natin, a combination of red and white blotches. Now, which of this example again, sa two pictures, ang codominance na example? Yung flower or yung cow? Who wants to answer? Which of this picture is an example of codominance? Kay Huntilia again. Yes, Samantha. Nakamute ka.
Both po, ma'am.
Very good. Okay, very good. So take note, kanina, if I asked you the incomplete dominance, walang answer na picture sa incomplete dominance sa screen, okay? Because this flower and this cow is an example of codominance. So, yung codominance, do not be confused with incomplete and codominance. When you say codominance, makita ninyo ang duha ka color in a particular like animal or flower or fishes ba ganun. So may makita talaga na white and pink, like red and brown, or sa Dalmatians, sa mga dogs, di ba? Or sa mga zebra, may black and white. But for incomplete dominance, you cannot identify that kana siya nga baby dog, for example, kana siya na puppy, isa inyahang mama is color white, inyahang papa is color black, and then nganong siya, combination of both colors. It's because sa incomplete dominance, it is a combination. Okay, example, white flower times a cross with red flower. What is the third phenotype if you are going to combine the color red and color white? Sige daw, balik tayo sa mapping na subject. Pag ihalo ang white and red, what is the color combination?
Pink.
What is the resulting? Okay, very good. Pink. So, yung offspring will be pink. Okay, the third phenotype will be pink, meaning a combination of white and red. That is the example for the incomplete dominance. Okay, so what else? For example, ano po yung mga color combination? White and black. What is the combination of white and black?
Gray, ma'am.
Gray, very good. So meaning to say, if the male parent of a particular puppy, for example, is black, and then yung mama niya is white, and then yung anak niya is magiging gray yung color, meaning to say, that is an example of incomplete dominance. Okay? The third phenotype or the offspring or yung anak is a combination of the dominant and recessive phenotypes of the parent. Pero pag sinabi natin codominance, yun nalalabas yung color talaga ng both parents. May mga patches ng white and black, may mga patches ng pink and white, for example, sa picture. Okay? So to know more, to learn more, you're going to click this. And then Here's another short video on genetics. Okay, so I will leave you your time to explore the video. Proceed to slide 7. This one, okay, start na. Medyo madugo na. Madugo na exciting ang part na to. Okay? So, incomplete dominance and codominance pa rin na pattern. Show the cross between a pink and a white flower. Okay. What are the letters that you can see here? Yung color, wait lang. The letters we have R and W. Okay. So, do not be confused with the letters. It's because biology uses letters just to represent a particular allele or a particular trait. Not necessarily na ang initial jud sa color is yun yung gagamitin natin. Like for example, pink flower. Ang ginamit na letter sa pink flower is letter R, not letter P. Okay? Sa W naman, or sa white, ginamit nila na letter is W. Okay, this is a Punnett square. So, cross between pink, yung pink, diba, kanina I've discussed na pink is a combination of white and a combination of white and pink, white and red. So, meaning to say, yung genotype ng pink is RW. Yung genotype ng white flower is WW. Okay? Anyway, pag medyo confusing, you are going to click on this videos for more discussion. I have also my own video tutorial. So I will sync the YouTube link sa tutorial and I will be sending all those links sa group chat niyo so that you can watch and you will understand the concept. Okay, here's the card. There are 3 cards. In this Punnett square, the question is, what is its genotype? And what is its phenotype? Okay, medalye, what is the genotype? What is the answer?
The genotype is R and W, and the phenotype is pink and white.
Okay, very good. Exactly. So, when you say genotype, para dali na kayo ma-recall, these are represented by letters. Okay, letters jud na siya. So, either in capital letter, those are dominant. Pag sa inyong grade 8, ang inyong gigamit na sa grade 8, sa Punnett square ni Gregor Mendel is capital letter dominant, small letter recessive. But for our non-Mendelian genetics, we will be using more of capital letters. Okay? So genotype, these are the genotype for pink is RW, the genotype for white is WW, and when you say phenotype, this is the physical trait. So the word pink and white. Okay, very good. Let's proceed to the next part. This one, codominance example. You have here the genotype and you have here the phenotype. So black feathers, white feathers, ang result or ang offspring is black and white speckled feathers. So you notice that hindi siya gray, hindi siya combination ng black and white. Because again, it is an example of a codominance. So question or task, describe its feather. You can describe the feather of the chicken. Okay, raise your hand. How can you describe the feather of the chicken? Yes, medalya again. Wala na bang ibang kamay dyan? Okay, sige dyan. Go dyan.
Kuan ma'am, lahi ang color na ay white feathers, bring up the combination of dark feathers or black.
Okay, very good. Exactly, because it is an example of a codominant. Okay, very good. Proceed to the last card. This one. Codominance example pa rin. The question is, what is a roan cow? Based on the given illustration. So we have the parent are red and white, and then the offspring It's a combination of, not a combination, but rows na makita ang red and then makita ang white here. So the question is, what is a roan cow? Okay. Medalye again. Hinakot muna talaga yung points nila. Okay, go medalye.
As shown on the diagram kay kuan, our roan cow is combination of red and white. That means nga naa siya parent na red ang color, na po siya parent nga white ang color. So si Ron murag na siyang anak kay red and white spots.
Okay, very good. Excellent. So that's it. So to know more and to learn more about this Punnett square, so this one we have here again, and then another link. Okay. So for slide number 8, eto na. So we are done with incomplete and codominance. The third type of non-Mendelian is multiple alleles. So these are the example. Okay. So may mga pictures dito. And multiple alleles occurs when there are 4 or more possible phenotypes for a particular trait, then more than 2 alleles for that trait must exist in the population. So mostly example of this one are the animals such as cats, rabbits, okay? So to learn more, explore more, so watch this video later. And then, sa slide number 9, here's my quiz na. Okay, may quiz na tayo dito. So, human blood types are determined by genes that follow the codominance pattern of inheritance. But some of the blood type is also an example of a multiple allele. Okay, so my phenotype dito, blood type O, A, B, A, and B. Now, if you notice, sa phenotype sa blood type, letters lang. Kasi yun naman talaga yung blood types. Okay, so hopefully, as of this point, alam niyo na kung ano yung blood type niyo. Kung hindi niyo pa alam yung blood type niyo, you should ask your parents or you can go to the nearest hospital or center, then magpakuha kayo ng blood type. Okay, it's very important to know your blood type. Now, the genotype. Genotype ng na blood type O, if you notice, is a small letter I, dalawa. Why is it na there are 2 genotypes? It is because dapat by pair. Okay? So yun, a set of alleles. So for genotype na O, naka-small letter I siya, it's because blood type O is a recessive blood type. So, parang nasunod niya yung kay Gregor Mendel na pattern na pag recessive gani, small letter. So, for the blood type, small letter I yung sa blood type O because blood type O is a recessive. Okay, proceed. Blood type AB, eto siya. Now, meron siyang capital letter I and then kung sa mathematics pa class, parang exponent ang letter A and then another I and then exponent yung B. So if you can read this, is IAIB to make it more simple, okay, to read. So yung letter I, that means immunoglobulin. That is for the allele for the blood type. Okay, it's capital letter I. Why is it capital letter I? It is because it
Dominant.
Okay, very good. One of the dominant blood types. So you have I, A, and B. Okay, the next blood type is A, and then the genotype is again, there are 2 types of genotype for blood type A and blood type B. So if you notice, first type is more on dominant A, okay? Capital letters A, or the second is a heterozygous na genotype na blood type A. You have I, A, and then small letter I. Or, since yung small letter I natin nag-represent siya ng blood type O, so therefore, pag ikaw is a blood type A person, you have to also identify if you are a homozygous, yung pure ka ba na blood type A, or heterozygous, or may halong O ka. Okay? So again, there are two genotypes of blood type A. Yung pure na A or yung may halong O or recessive. Okay, proceed to the next. We have blood type B. Yung blood type B, dalawa rin. We have homozygous and heterozygous. So pag a combination of this small letter I, meaning meron kang allele for B and then at the same time, meron kang allele for blood type O. Okay? Next. So this, di ba meron tayong mga narinig na, oh, blood donation, you can donate blood. You can also receive blood from other person if needed. Like for example, ka ng mga na dengue or ka ng mga blood transfusion ng mga patient. So they need blood. But dili pwede nga manghatag na tong dugo sa unsa na lang nga dugo. You should know their blood type. Okay? Now, if you are a blood type O, good for you because you can share to any blood type because blood type O is said to be the universal donor. Okay? So, you can donate to the persons na blood type A, blood type B, blood type AB, and blood type O. So, for example, inyong best friend ng dengue, blood type A siya. Mom, blood type O man po. Yes, you can donate your blood to your friend na blood type A. Okay? But, kung ikaw na po ang manghinahanglan og dugo, tapos blood type O ka, you can only receive a blood type O. Dili pwede na, uy, best friend, di ba katong blood type A ka, gitagaan ta kang dugo. Karon mangayo na po kong dugo taga ito, dili pwede makahatag si best friend na ay blood type A sa imuha kay O ka. You will only receive a blood type O. Okay, so that's it. So anyway, sige lang, for blood type O, the more you give, yun na lang. Sige. But you cannot receive any of the blood type, but O alone. Now, for blood type AB naman, ito is exclusive din. They can only donate blood sa mga pareho nila na blood type AB. Dili sila pwede mo donate o blood sa O o sa A o sa B, 'di ba? So meaning to say, itong mga blood type AB kumbaga, focus lang sila sa kapareho nila na blood type if they want to donate. Now, but eto na, they can receive blood from any type. O, diba? Swerte ang blood type AB. Swerte sila in the sense that if they need blood, they can get blood donation from blood type A, B, AB, and O because they are known to be the universal receiver. Taga-dawat na din sila. So, yun. Dili na sila maglusog og pangita og blood donor. So, kinsa mga blood type AB nila. So, congratulations. You can be the universal recipient of blood of any type. Okay? So, for the blood type A, duha lang po siya. Blood type A, B, and A, pwede siya makadonate. Pero makareceive siya og blood from blood type O and blood type A. Now, why is it na hindi siya pwede makareceive ng blood type B? Kasi if you look at the genotype, yung blood type B, walay A, di ba, sa genotype. So, dili siya pwede makahatag sa blood type A. So, that's why A can only receive a blood from O and A. Nganong O pwede siya makareceive? It's because merong genotype dito na may small letter I which represent the allele for O. So, compatible sila. Okay? So, for blood type B, they can only donate blood for blood type AB and blood type B. Now, why is it na ang B dili pwede makadonate og dugo sa blood type O? They cannot donate the blood, their blood type B sa O. It is because recessive ang O. Okay? Pero, they can receive blood from O. Diba? Pero medyo unfair, but that's the basis for donating and receiving blood. Kasi once magkamali ng donate ng blood, tapos matransfuse sa isang person, medical patient, there will be chance of like kanang mamatay, like fatal siya kung magkamali. It's because there will be like kanang mga um, complications. Okay, complications, either mag-clot yung mga blood sa loob because their antigens and their alleles are not compatible. So that's the reason why you need to check and you need to know your blood type. Kaya kung magkinaunsa, unsa ba rin diha, you need to receive and you need to donate blood, dapat compatible. Okay? So that's for the blood type. So you have here questions. So may mga questions dyan. Write the genotype for each person based on the description. Now, if you notice kanina, sige ko mention na homozygous, heterozygous, it's because that would be part of your quiz for this slide. So kayo nang bahala mag-answer niyan later. Just simply click the square and then type. Okay, so stretchable yung ating mga square dyan. So kayo nang bahala. Then, for Punnett square illustration, so you are going to view this one. Okay? And I have also my YouTube na tutorial video for multiple alleles, so I can also send that link later. Okay? So proceed to the next slide. Yun. We are now down to the fourth type of inheritance. We have sex-linked inheritance. Okay, so when we talk about the term sex, it has something to do with the chromosomes. Okay, so we have the XX for female, and we have the X and Y for the male. Okay, so you have to study this one, and you have to click and watch the video. And then another one for more explanation on the Punnett square, okay, how to use the Punnett square. But then again, I will be providing you a very simple video tutorial. Later, YouTube link, isend ko na ng lahat sa ating group chat. Okay, now proceed to the next one. So another video on the sex-linked inheritance. And then please, you have to take down notes of what's in the video because of slide number 12, another problem. Okay. Eto siya, I have also here my YouTube videos for the answer and tutorial on how to answer this one. So I will be sending the link. Slide number 13. By the way, slide number 12, you will answer this one. Yan, i-click lang yung box. Slide number 14, i-click lang din yung box if you want to answer, okay? And then slide number 15, click here to answer, okay? And then click this to answer. And another set, click here to answer. The traits are all given, okay? So for the trait, dominant and recessive. You notice recessive, gumamit tayo ng small letters because it has something to do with the sex-linked traits para at least you can also recall your Mendelian genetics para hindi kayo malibog sa pag-illustrate if that allele is a dominant and recessive. Okay? Now, the next slide, 16. This is the last quiz for this module. So, you answer this one, and then you should get the summary again. This is only 40 items. Yung ating module 1 is 45. Module 2 natin is 40. Now, since there will be times na magka-technical problems, so make sure to screenshot or basta screenshot inyo ang score or inyong isulat. Kopyahon na lang kung dili ka marunong mag-screenshot. So, yun. So, that is for our module 2. So, again, medyo mataas. That's why I will give you time this morning, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, 3 days for module 2. Para medyo taas pa yung pag-study, pag-answer. Because after this slides, you will be given another set of activity, and that is let's practice more Okay, activity number 1 is baldness. Ito yung pagkaupaw ng ating mga tatay, ng ating mga kuya, uncle, o mga silingan. It's a part of heredity, okay? And science can explain that one. So you are going to watch this video, answer the questions. What is baldness? What causes? And how is it treated? Okay, pwede ba na maayo ang ating pagkaupaw? So you are going to discover that one through this video presentation. And then another activity number 2 is color blindness. So may mga friends tayo na cannot easily identify the color, or even the worst is dili din sila kabalo kung sila color. Okay? So maybe they have this trait, color blindness. So you are going to watch this video, answer the 4 questions. Now to submit, the same thing, online text submission only. So no need to use Microsoft Word and any other Microsoft Office tools, because we're going to write online text lang, dire-diretso na, with this format. Take note, part ng ating checking, part ng points, part ng item, ng score is the following of instruction. Okay, so you have here the title, answers diretso, and you have another title, then answers diretso. And then, you have to answer. May nakasubmit na. Let's see kung sinong yakar ang nakasubmit na ng 2. Sino kayo naka-answer na? Makita yan dito. Yun, Cuevas. Very good. 9:21 p.m. yesterday. Ooh, very early. So yun. Kasi Cuevas pala ang naka-answer ng ating let's practice more. Okay, very good. So you have to manage your time today until Saturday. Pero pag makaya na maka-reach na kayo ng module 3 and 4, the better. The earlier, the better. Okay? So yun. Yun lang. Doon natatapos yung ating module 2 because the next activity is for module 3. So we will not be dealing muna with module 3 para hindi tayo masyadong ma-pressure sa time and sa demand ng LMS. So we will stop now the sharing. Balik tayo dito. You are 24. We will be checking the attendance again before we will end this meeting, because I will be meeting with class Mahogany after this one. Okay. Now, are there any questions regarding our genetics? Module 2. Okay, wala. So I am hoping that you will enjoy learning the module 2. It's because yun na nga sinabi ko kanina, medyo mataas yung lessons because there are 4 types that you need to answer using the Punnett square. But do not worry because we will be providing more tutorials, videos, and you can ask questions. You can chat me if there are concerns and questions regarding the topic. Okay, so yun lang. So please do not forget to follow the time schedule and refrain from too much pulaw, like 12 midnight na. Kung makaya, work in the morning or the daytime and give your time and give yourself the chance to rest 8 hours every night, the better. Okay, so you have to take good care of your health as well as your mental health. Okay, so are there any questions? If there are none, then let's call it a day. Oh, naiiring si John. Sa pangalan sa imong iring John.
Whiskey.
Whiskey, o, di ba? May mga pets. Okay, okay yung mga pets para at least meron kayong mga stress reliever, mga problem absorber. Okay, now, for the last time, or for the last part of our session, kindly open your camera, please, yung mga wala camera. Ayun, meron din si Milky. Oh, white din sa kanila. Ang hilig nyo sa mga iring, ha? Pero yung mga iring ninyo, wala mga patches. Hindi siya part ng codominance. Okay, sige. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, wala. Yung iba walang mga camera. Sige. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. For the last part again, checking of the attendance. Okay. So please unmute and then say present. Albesa.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Aleria.
Present po, ma'am.
Balasta. Wala. Wala siya sukad last Tuesday. Where is Balasta kaya? Kalika. Wala si Kalika today. Okay. Candelasa. Wala din. Hista.
Present po, ma'am.
O yun. Ganina si Hista. Wala siya tapuan. Okay.
Nataas po ko, ma'am.
Malkisto. Okay. Malkisto. Malkisto, hello. Natulog na siguro ni si Vincent. Okay, sige. Medalye.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Melyare. Wala si Melyare. Wala po siya last time. Robertas.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Samaniego. Wala si Samaniego today. Terona.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, present. Vicada.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Vicente.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Agra.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, Arajani.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, Ariate. Yes, Abigail. Sige, nakita kita. Ayag. Wala si Ayag. Wala po siya last time. Babaylo.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, Bernaldez. Bernaldez. Wala siya today. Chato. Wala po. Cuevas.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, Diaz, Abigail.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, present si Diaz. Dumandan, Trisha.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, Giducos, Christine. Wala. Wala po siya last time. Ano? Iligan, Katrina May. Wala. Huntilya.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Madung, Barbie. Last time pa ko siya pangita kay Barbie. Nasaan si Barbie? Okay, Mantilla.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, Narisma.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Panal.
Present po, ma'am.
Okay, present si Panal. Riquillo.
Ma'am, si Riquilio po daw, ma'am, kay wala po tayo kuryente sa ila, ma'am.
Taga-asa siya gang.
Naapo tayo nag-ayos sa ilag poste po, ma'am. Ada sila kuryente.
No, kuryente. Sige, ako i-take note. Sam.
Present
Si
po,
Sam.
ma'am.
Ayun. Okay, yes, Sam. Sanchez.
Excuse me po, ma'am.
Okay. Tres Peces.
Present po.
Ayun, si Milky na may iring din. Uy. Si Uy wala last time. Wala din ngayon. Zulina. Wala last time. Wala po bro. Ang saka mo sila. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining our second meeting. You are noted. Your participation is very much appreciated. And this is again included in your performance task grade. Okay, so thank you everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. You can now go back to your LMS and manage your time properly. And see you next week for our third session. Goodbye everyone.
Excuse me
Bye,
po,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Oh, yes? Sino nag-excuse?
Wala po ako natawag.
Ano wala ka natawag, Peter? Una ka diri. Okay na lang. Na-check na diri October 28.
Excuse me po, ma'am.
Yes, Sanchez?
Ganiha po ma'am kay naapo ko ma'am pero na-disconnect ko ma'am kay nahurot ang hulod ma'am. Nigawas po ko ma'am para mag-wifi po dito sa mua.
Oh, kaluit
Eh,
lang.
hindi
Oh,
ko
sige, sige. Okay, sige. Noted lang. Sige, thank you.
Salamat po ma'am. Thank you po
Okay.
ma'am.
Sige. So, before we will end and we will leave the room, may I request Robertas to have a closing prayer?
Anything po, ma'am.
Oh, yes. Anything. From your heart.
In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us
Give
this
us
day
this
our
day
daily
our daily bread and forgive us
and forgive us our sins, as we
and
forgive
forgive
those who
those
sin
who sin
against us.
against us.
Do
Do
not
not
bring us
bring
into
us
test,
to
but
test, but
deliver us
deliver
from
us from evil. In the
evil.
Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, goodbye everyone. Thank you for today. God bless.
Bye po, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye po, ma'am.